Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Geoguessr Explained. It's Oscar here, and today we're playing some more play along links. You can find those links in the description. There is today's seeds and tomorrow's, so do play today's ones before you watch the video, so that when you're watching me play, you can pick up on your mistakes and all that kind of thing. Yeah, let's get straight into things here on Diverse World, classic stuff, and I've left the car on again today, so let's see if we can use some car meta as well, and get some good scores. So first one here, we have a low camera, which is the first thing to notice here. But instead of looking at that, I want to look at the road lines first. So I'm a big advocate for learning road lines, what colors they use in different countries, and especially when you're starting out. And here we have yellow, and we're in a country that uses often yellow or white, and in different combinations, so it's quite interesting here. We have yellow dashed lines, we have mountains in the background, these are definitely mountains, not clouds, and we have a fairly, temperate looking climate, not too hot, not too cold, I would say. Yeah, so we also have a little bit of cabbage here, which is interesting. That is definitely interesting. So the cabbage will also play a part here. So with this white car and the low camera, this should be somewhere in Japan. Now, you almost never see any of the car inside of Switzerland, which is the other main country that has Generation 3 low camera. So we should be somewhere in Japan for that reason. We also do have these yellow lines. Japan's a country, as I said, that uses white and yellows in the center kind of interchangeably. I don't know, if you actually know something more than me about that, do say, but you can definitely see whites in the center as well. And then the other big thing here, because we're such a rural round, this is not necessarily easy, but the other thing is this cabbage. So this cabbage you can expect to see much more in the north of Japan. This kind of round leaf cabbage is found in southern Sakhalin, all over Hokkaido, and then in the very north, like Aomori, in Japan. So that's pretty much the three places you can find it. Now, I would say on this occasion that this didn't strike me as particularly Hokkaido, but I think with this much cabbage, the fact that we can see it all along this road makes me think we should probably guess there. And so then we should be somewhere up in the hills here. And if we're looking to the south, we can see more hills. So I guess we could be a bit further north, kind of like this, looking down onto some other hills like that. I don't really know. We're not on a highway though, so we could pick some kind of a road that's more fitting here like this. I don't really know where this would be. It's certainly an interesting round. I think clicking middle Hokkaido can make sense here. Now, without the cabbage, I think I would have gone quite a bit further south, but it's hard to say. It's definitely not an easy round. So yeah, remember that cabbage. Oftentimes it's a bit bigger. That's why I think it could be fooling us. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, normal times you will see it a little bit bigger, but yeah, I think we're going to be correct here. Let's see if I'm right about that. And it was just Aomori. That makes sense. Yeah. So I think maybe on Hokkaido you would see the cabbage leaves being a bit bigger there. But yeah, we moved to one country streak, and that's 4,000 points, not too bad. So let's move into the next round here. Okay, and we are looking at an interesting one here. Okay, polls definitely help here, so let's take a look. So first things to notice, if we're talking about road lines, we've got a single yellow line in the center of the road here. That is definitely going to be maybe one of the biggest clues for getting the country here. Okay, taking a look around here. We've got a little bit of a phone number. We've got English on the sign here, which is, of course, pretty useful. Okay, what is that thing? Like a bollard here. That is something interesting. Wooden poles along the side. A railroad, often quite baity because they're often different to the normal poles you'd find around any given country. And we have architecture here, wooden paneled house. So this one will be Canada. Single yellow line for Canada is much more common than in US. Then also this wooden paneled house looks very Canadian over US as well, I would say. Although you could find similar ones in the US, of course, as well. And then the main thing here, I would say, is this kind of pole with the insulators with this kind of I don't know what you'd call it, but just a little gap. And these kind of insulated gap poles are commonly found in British Columbia and even more commonly in Ontario. Then I guess you can probably also find it in New Brunswick and maybe Quebec. But yeah, I feel like this should just be Ontario. It's flat, and we have this kind of pole. This bollard looks like a Quebec bollard, but I think with this English on the sign here, we shouldn't be in Quebec, right? So that's kind of my logic here. Maybe we'll click nearby Quebec just because we do have that Quebec bollard. But yeah, it should be just somewhere in southern Ontario here. Trees do not feel too far north, but they don't feel too far south either. So maybe this kind of region, Pembroke area could work here. Maybe a bit further south because we have Generation 4 camera. But yeah, that's about it to say on this one. Yeah, wooden poles for North America, very, very clear. Yellow center lines for the North America vibe as well. And it feels fairly cold. So that's all we need to say here. Let's see if we're right. And we were pretty right. That's a good guess there. So let's move on to the next round. Okay, immediately I can tell this one will be somewhere in Kenya. Reason being that we have yellow center lines with white outer lines. If we're looking at like a fairly African style or like a fairly African looking country and we have yellow center lines, then we can immediately rule out all these ones because they would never use yellow centers. And we can also rule out Nigeria and Ghana actually because they both use white centers generally speaking as well as Senegal. So makes life pretty easy to get Kenya here. Then also we got this really thin crossbar at the top of the pole. That's a Kenyan thing. We have wooden poles. That's also a Kenyan thing. In terms of Africa, whoa, that's really quick. In terms of Africa, Kenya, maybe Uganda, Ghana, using the most wooden poles. Everywhere else, and then maybe like Botswana as well, and South Africa, of course. But like in Northern Africa, you wouldn't see it so much in Nigeria or Senegal. Okay. Apart from that, we've got left-hand drive here. Obviously, Kenya being one of those one of the furthest north left-hand drive countries in Africa. We have these thin insulators and a lot of eucalyptus as well, like eucalyptus type trees here. That's quite commonly found in like western Kenya. So let's take a look around here at the car. Yep, we got the standard Kenya car, a bit of dirt on it. Not really sure what the meta's that much yet for this particular car, but this definitely feels like the west of Kenya. So for region guessing western, Nakuru is a bit flatter, and so is Kisumu, whereas Eldoret region is quite mountainous. So I'm thinking like Kisumu is probably most likely here. We don't have the tape on the side of the car here, which you'd often find near Nairobi. So yeah, just thinking this is somewhere like near Kisumu kind of area. So I think I'll just even click maybe all the way west here and try it, and it will be right there, actually. 45 kilometers away, it's a good guess. So we're actually on quite a good score so far. And the next one here, we have pretty abundant clues right as we load in. So two things here that make me absolutely certain this is the UK and not Ireland. One, we have a yellow rear plate here, and two, we have a triangle warning sign instead of a diamond yellow warning sign, which you would use in the Republic of Ireland. So let's take a look around here. We don't have a lot of red brick architecture, which would be more common in England. So maybe thinking of Wales, thinking of Scotland, thinking of Northern Ireland here. It kind of feels like Ireland, so I would not mind something in Northern Ireland here, but it still can easily be Wales or something like that. I believe on these warning signs, actually, the yellow bit would be cut out of the yellow strip. It would just be like the yellow triangle on its own in Republic of Ireland as well, but yeah, I could be wrong. Also, here's a good little rule of thumb. We have some language there. It almost feels a bit Irish, doesn't it? Anyway, here's a good little rule of thumb. When you are looking at like an intersection but there are no cars, you can still tell which side of the road they're driving on based on where the cars have to stop. So if a car pulls up here, it has to stop, and that's on from the perspective of the driver, that's on the left-hand side of the road. So yeah, that's pretty good to think about when you're in a rural round, not like this one. Okay, what else is there to say here? Yeah, I think it's gonna be one of the things I mentioned. Rolling green landscape. It definitely fits for Northern Ireland. We could be in kind of J-Web kind of kind of J-Web territory here, I reckon. So, I reckon maybe like south of Belfast for the hedge here. Could also just like the hills are like over here and over here. Maybe some over here as well. Can't remember. But yeah, I mean, if we see that much north hills, then maybe actually like kind of this region is best. So we can go in Ballymoney, which is a great name. I think I'll go there actually. We see I don't want to take too long here. Ballymoney definitely works. Scotland's still possible. And one more look at that language, shall we have? One more look at that language. So that was Baltini Ui. Yeah, it feels more Gaelic to me, but maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it's just Welsh or something. I don't know. Let's see here. And, okay, it was right there. Very nice. So, actually, consecutive, really nice guesses here. So, do let me know how you guys are going in these rounds, because this last one is the type of round where you guys could pull ahead, even despite my nice guesses just then. So, let's take a look around here. So, obviously, it says what is that? What are those letters there? I actually don't know which ones they're meant to be. But, I mean, it says Russia, so, yeah, we should be somewhere in Russia here. Black car long antenna is very common in Russian Generation 3, basically the most common. This is a Russian crossing sign with three kind of zebras and the detached head. We have a green roof here, so more common in eastern Russia. Some hills, that's definitely useful. Definitely some like puddles as well. Feels quite far east to me. Also, something that feels quite east is this car. and this car, like in this car too, very Asian looking ones. The steering wheel here is on the right-hand side, which would also indicate, can you see that's the driver there? That would also indicate that we're in Eastern Russia because that is like a Japanese imported car. Yeah, because if the steering wheel is on the right-hand side, that would be a left-hand drive country, but of course we're actually driving on the right here, so yeah, all that leads to Eastern Russia here. So how far east is the question? Well, a lot of the time around Vladivostok, you will see the white car, so that makes it less likely. I'm kind of thinking this is more like Chita Ulan-Ude area myself. I am. And it feels quite north, so maybe even like one of these towns on the way. Though I don't think that really has enough hills, so I'm kind of wondering where this should be. I mean, Chita's also quite dry. This is very overcast. It could still be Vladivostok, I guess. Could this even be, and I don't hate this, could this even be like the main city on Kamchatka? It could be here. It could be here, man. It's not impossible. So let's take a look here. We have these hills to the west, and then over this direction we don't have too much. So we'd have to be like here or something like, I don't love it, but I kind of want to go for it. Low key, guys. Just because we have the Asian cars, it could be Sakhalin. It could be Sakhalin Island as well. Yeah, I kind of like Sakhalin here, maybe a bit better. Now, imagine if we had, Aomori and Sakhalin. That would be kind of interesting. I kind of feel like this is Sakhalin. Sakhalin definitely has black car. And it has a lot of Asian cars as well. I don't know if architecture fits. I hope I didn't switch off the right answer at any point here, but yeah, I want to go here. Let's go in Ugliogorsk, because that's a town I had in around once, and yeah, I want to go there again. It's probably, I mean, it could be right. Let's find out here, guys. Anything else to say here? I mean, yeah, it just feels like Eastern Russia. So let's give this a go. And oh no, what way? We actually got Sakhalin. That's great. It's not an easy seed. It was in Nok. I would have clicked further north, but I was kind of trolling because I like the name Ugliogorsk ever since I had around there. 22.8 is good on a seed like that. I think that was actually a relatively difficult seed with the Russia and the Canada and the Japan. So well done if you did a good job. And we are about to find out now how well people did. I imagine I'm fairly high up on the list here. Let's see. Yeah, I was actually second there, and only second to a guy who was cheating. So yeah, let's take a look down the list here. And see, and we have to go all the way down here. So in this time, while I go and see more people, do smash the like button and give the channel a subscribe as well. If you're playing along every day, then that would be a good idea, would it not? And let's just hit it a few more times here in order to see the right people. And okay, we're right down at the bottom here. Perfect. So let us pick someone who got around 10,000 points or 11,000 points. Yeah, that seems about right here. So Connor's bad, maybe living up to his name. We'll see. And let's check this out. So Connor actually getting the UK vibe there. Definitely a decent guess there. I thought Scotland was still possible, so cannot fault that one. Also, I would say like all the houses kind of had like fences around them in quite an Irish style there, but yeah, as I said, I wasn't really sure. The Kenya one, the big thing there is obviously the fact that we were driving left-hand side of the road. Guy would not drive left. Then also, I would say the kind of brownish soil there. And also there's one other thing, yellow central lines, of course, and the big Google car, the big silver Google car should be found in Kenya. Although maybe, I can't remember what Senegal has, but yeah, it's driving left, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, the Canada guess was decent there. Manitoba could make sense if you don't know your pole tops. Although where you clicked would probably have less trees. When it's like forested, Ontario more likely. Great Plains obviously have less trees, so that definitely would be a good thing to keep in mind. Same guesses for the Hokkaido. That was actually a good pickup by Connor there. Getting the cabbage was present, so well done to him. And then the Russia was pretty rough. I mean, you have to combine like the steering wheel and the vibes and the mountains in the background. Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy round, so can definitely forgive that from Connor there. And I say we move into the next round here, which is region guessing. So let's get this one, get amongst it. And we're starting off with a difficult round here in some ways. So it's fairly rural. I imagine that many of you guys will have missed the country here, but there's one big thing I think for getting the country here, and that is the number plates. We have short number plates. These are not at all long, and yeah, you can just see that they're about half the length, like a Brazilian plate, for example. So given that we're playing region guessing, which includes the 20 countries with the most coverage, or the biggest countries with the most coverage, it's going to be Mexico. Short plates, concrete pole that's like octagonal, American cars that have short number plates, GMC and like a Chevy here or a Ford or something. So yeah, this kind of feels a bit Mexico City region with what I would call like kind of dry-ish mountains, but like the feeling that it might get like green during the wetter season. Thin crossbar on the top of the pole here. This is a very Mexican light. Do we see another one here? No. So the Mexican lights are kind of very circular, I would say. Yeah. So I would say on this one, anything from like Zacatecas all the way down to Oaxaca is pretty reasonable. And if I'm having to go myself, I'd say Guanajuato is actually a decent shout here, so let's go for that. And it was indeed in Guanajuato. Let's go. We actually got the state there, so that's pretty gratifying. Another good start to the seed here, so I'm playing pretty well today. Next one here, we are looking at something right-hand drive. We have wooden poles here. We know it's right-hand drive because this is the back of the car. Hard to describe why, but yeah, that's just the back of the car, front of the car's here, and yeah, you may sometimes see the antenna, sometimes not, but yeah. Okay, we have like a very rolling landscape here. This round is actually not obvious to me. This round is actually not obvious. We may miss the country here because this is quite difficult. But we can use the meta of the map to get closer here, I would say. So I was kind of thinking of Bulgaria and Romania, but obviously they wouldn't be included on the map. Instead, we would have Spain and France and UK, I think. So yeah, I mean, if it's going to be Europe, right-hand drive. I mean, why do I think it's Europe, by the way? Wooden poles are obviously quite, well, not obviously, but, you know, wooden poles are common in Europe. But more common are like concrete poles and metal poles. Well, like, you know, Europe's a real mix. But it is interesting that we have a wooden one. Yeah, that's not entirely common. The reason I think it's Europe, though, is that we have like a forest with an marked road, and it's quite like it's not a thin road, but like I feel like in most other places they would put markings on the road here, whereas Europe tends to leave them blank quite a lot of the time in many places. This dry, hilly landscape, I'm thinking France, to be honest, but I just don't really know where it would be. Like it's lush, but like these hills feel quite dry. I even think Corsica is possible, though I don't really know if I can go there without like seeing more of the island, more of the land in the background. This white sticker on the pole is a bit confusing to me. I'm not really sure where you'd find that. So yeah, I mean, what is anything else reasonably possible here? US doesn't really feel right here. I don't think you'd see that much of the blue car in US either. Maybe. Yeah, I think it's just France, but it is a kind of a confusing round, so I forgive you anyone for not getting this. I want to go like near Grenoble here, near Lyon. I think that's my vibe, but I guess we'll find out right now. Let's see. It is Italy. I forgot. Wait, did I say? I said I didn't know Italy was on the map. I think I would have gone Italy there had I known that. Had I known it was on the map, but I just forgot that it was on the map. Okay. Well, yeah, that's just a skill issue there. Okay, next one here. This one is pretty gettable. Big black back of the sign here. That's definitely helpful for the country. More black backs of the sign. Yeah. So when you see this many black backs of the sign and you have double yellow lines that are leading you to the Americas like that, then it should just be Brazil. Brazil's that black back of the sign using country. Red soil for Brazil here. Right-hand drive, that's the hood of the car there. Yeah, right-hand drive easily. We have like tree plantations here. Okay, I want to get the state here. This is actually, is that sugarcane or is that trees? No, that's too tall. That's like a new eucalyptus plantation or something. Okay, the state is not easy here. Look at this. This is quite like a thick forest. Yeah, this is quite like an Amazonian looking forest, right? But it's not. We don't have enough palms for Amazon. So I would say then. And this is a blue car. I would say that this is probably like Goiás or Tocantins or something like that. It's hard to describe why, but yeah, I mean, and these tree plantations are not that common in Goiás, so I could be wrong here. I could be quite wrong. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm right though. I feel like it's this kind of area. Yeah, I would say it's like like Goiás. Maybe like southern Goiás here is safe because then we kind of encapsulate both of the Mato Grossos here. I don't know. I can't. This is just vibes. I can't really describe why. I think that beyond the fact that we don't really have many palms, like one here, this almost feels like a Mato Grosso palm, which is a bit more shaggy. But yeah, Not really sure, guys. I'm just gonna have to guess here and see where it actually is. And okay, it was in Espirito Center. That's a difficult Espirito Center. That is a difficult Espirito Center to get. It was very flat. Normally in Espirito Center, you see these huge these huge mountains with very rocky faces. But on this occasion, we did have another Espirito Santo meta, which is that we had a lot of those tree plantations. So if you see a lot of those tree plantations, they can be found around the country, but one of the particular states that uses them a lot is Espirito Santo. So I think that was pretty gettable, but I just didn't consider it because it was so flat. So there we go. I mean, yeah. Tough round. Okay, next one here. We're going to be somewhere in North America, I would say. So don't be deceived by these white center lines. It's actually yellow center lines. So here's a little lesson. Think about this. This is the language of American road lines, or like I'm talking like all of the Americas and even like other countries as well, where the yellow denotes where it changes from one lane to the other, right? So think about like a double lane road with like a yellow dotted line in the center. One side of the yellow line is one hand's drive and one side of the yellow line is the other hand drive, right? Well, in this situation, the yellow here is denoting the center of the road, right? Even though we have a verge in the middle, or like an island in the middle, we have like the two yellows denoting the middle of the road. So it's actually essentially like we had a double yellow here. Does that make sense? I hope I explained it clearly enough there. But yeah, that's the center of the road. So the fact that we have these yellow lines here, we wouldn't have yellow lines here because that would denote like a different direction of traffic. But of course, we're going the same way because we are, double lane here. Okay, that's enough of that. Now let's look at the plate here. Plate has like a bit of orange in the middle with green on the outsides. I'm gonna say this is a Florida plate. We have no front plates on this as well. No front plates is common in the south of the US and every state bordering Ohio, including Ohio itself, in new coverage. Okay, that's a quick lesson in that. And so I would say, yeah, just Florida or Georgia here with this number plate. I think it's Florida with the like kind of peach in the middle or whatever it is. So I would just kind of click North Florida here. It's a little it's a bit elevated. Like we seem to be changing elevation here, which is strange for Florida, but pretty sure we're just there. Will we be? Yes, we will be indeed in Florida. Okay, moving on to the final round here, and we are once again in Brazil, and this one is quite a good round. This one, like if you're an intermediate player, listen up here because this one will help you out, okay? So we have black back of the sign to get Brazil again. We have like standard Brazilian pole tops here that are concrete and with these knobs on it. But we have this very green, lush kind of round going on here. It is, what would you describe it as? It's like Generation 4, just ultra green with vegetation coming right up to the side of the road, but no trees, kind of just shrubby kind of vegetation. Okay, that's the best way of saying it, I would say. And we also have this, what we call the white car, which is like blue in the middle and white on the outsides, as opposed to fully blue. So this white car plus this kind of landscape will basically only be Ceará and Rio Grande do Norte in the west. Now you can get maybe similar landscape in like Pernambuco and Piauí occasionally. I would hedge the bet that because we got the white car in this landscape, that we're definitely just in one of these two states. I'm going to hedge it in Ceará, but yeah, should be just right there. And am I right about that? Yes, I am. It is Ceará. So very good to remember that kind of coverage is found right there. And we get 17k to show for our efforts here. The Italy was a blunder. My goodness, that definitely looked Italian, not French, but I just forgot. I just thought it was only France, Spain, and UK. But yeah, okay. 17k is still a decent effort there, I feel. And so let's see how everyone did on this seed. I think we're not going to have to scroll down far to find someone with a significantly worse score. Yeah, let's just hit the thing 1 or 2 times here, and then we'll end up with the right kind of level of person here. So yeah, about 12k probably works here. So let's go with Blackbrook's score of 12,000 here and C. So I'll just get rid of my own score here. Pretty decent. Blackbrook missed out on probably the number plate knowledge there, the green and orange plate for Florida. So that's pretty much what you need to know there. The Mexico guess was by no means bad, but I would say like with more of like a rolling landscape, this is more common, whereas like Monterey area would have like more big mountains and then flatness, I would say, although this is a valley here, like it's kind of more stark, whereas this is more of like a rolling landscape around Mexico City. It doesn't always work, but yeah, take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, this guess was the same as mine, in fact slightly better, so I couldn't really like fault them for that. And this guess is the one where, yeah, I mean, actually Bahia is not a bad shout there. But yeah, just keeping in mind that this kind of coverage is very found around there. And then finally, it was the Europe that they also missed. So yeah, Spain guess there was reasonable. Why would it not be Spain? I don't know. Something about it just did not feel Spain. It wouldn't be the green and leafy where you clicked. Yeah, Italy is definitely the go there. Should have gotten it. Bit of a blunder for sure. Yeah, and Generation 4 without an antenna is very Italian as well. Okay, that is about it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. It's a bit of a longer one. There was more to explain on this one. But yeah, I would say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, goodbye.